wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as always, welcome everyone who showed up. We're going to be trading like we always do. Today may be a little bit of a crazy one, and I'm all in for it because yesterday was a bit of a snoozer with almost nothing going on. But we had bank earnings with some really mixed results. I'm looking at some banks up, some banks down. We also had CPI, which had a little tiny movement for a second, and now we're kind of right back to baseline. So we are holding all-time highs, which is a good thing. That's what we want to do. So we are going to take a quick look here around the market, and we'll be joined by Mitch again once he's done cheating on us. Also, we'll probably be joined by our buddy Steve. So all in all, it's going to be a fun time. I see quantum moving here as well. Oh, I got the mute button. That was close. The mute button just in time. Now, let's pop into it here. And starting with the S&P 500, you can see a big gap up overnight. Again, I always like to, in the morning, take a look at the ES a little bit more. It gives you more of a show of what happened. So, something. I'm sure there's some news. I'm sure Mitch knows it. But something happened here at 8 o'clock at night. Big push up. And then we've been kind of grinding higher ever since. And then right here was the CPI print. So, bullish movement right off of that CPI print, and we are holding it at least for now. So that's something that we have to keep an eye on, keep a watch as well. I think I've added like a million things to the bot this morning. It's going to be a bit of a crazy one, but yeah. So far we're holding pretty well. Nice little flag action. Could be one of those that we mark this pre-market high, and you can see 1, 2, 3 tests to that pre-market high. That might be an interesting one. Hey, Shane, how's it going? Let's go over here. I think that's a little better. There we go. Yeah, so we're kind of just flirting around this area right here. So we need to have a resolution, preferably to the upside. As the local bull around here, we're butting up against that right now. We hit a new all-time high a little bit earlier this morning, had some sellers come in. Speaking of sellers come in, right? We had Bitcoin was rocketing yesterday, got up to 123, 124, and we're pulling back here a little bit as well. And it doesn't scare me. I don't think it's major or crazy by any means, but we are pulling back quite a little bit, seeing some profit taking or some short selling kick in this market. It's going through some of the gappers that I'm watching. Right, a lot of these things are moving with the market, but we have Nvidia up really big today. In the pre-market, we are up 5% on Nvidia, so some good news must have come out there on that name. Nice little gap up. This trend, this uptrend grind is continuing. BBAI up as well. This one's moving. It's really just a low float kind of way to play these potential trades. So slowly grinding up here, looking great on that particular name. SMCI, right? Everything that's got kind of AI theme is moving higher, at least for now. So we got to keep a close eye on that, what happens in the morning. Let's take a look at the economic calendar. Quickly, we have all of this stuff is already out of the way. Let's just do a little refresh just to have it update. There we go. So all of this is out of the way. We've got a Fed Bowman, a Fed Barr, a Fed Collins, a Fed Logan. All of the Feds are yapping at some point throughout the day. So just pay attention. I don't even know any of these guys. I don't know. I'm not a Fed watcher. I don't pay too close attention to them in general, but I've never heard of any of these people before. So it means they're probably not that kind of news heavy. Tomorrow we have PPI, which we had CPs. Now we do our PPs tomorrow. So some more action taking place there and some more earnings. So yesterday was a snoozer, but I think we're going to wake up a little bit here on the market. So what I'm watching for, just quickly to take a look, is right, we break these highs in the pre-markets. That's 627.90. Just call it 628. We're above 628. That's a nice little breakout and a continuation. If we are below that, then maybe we come in to retest the 2-day VWAP. Feels like we just go up no matter what. Well, that's a bull market, right? One of my favorite sayings in trading and in finance is if you can't survive the bull market, you'll never survive the bear, right? Because the bull market, 75% of the time, we're in a bull market. So 75% of the time, we're going to go up. For whether we think it's a good reason or a bad reason, we just know that 75% of the time, we are moving higher. And again, I, for one, am totally okay with that. So let me get out of here. I don't know why that opened up on my iPad. Yeah, so we are, it makes sense, right? If we were in a bear market, we'd be going down for any reason and no reason at all. In this market, we're going to go up for kind of any reason or no reason at all. So nice little, that's why we stick with trends. That's why trends are so awesome, right? Is we can just kind of hang out with the underlying trend and make sure that we're having fun in that direction. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm having a lot of fun right now. The account, I talked about how I was leveraging here on the way up. New all-time highs just beget new all-time highs. And I like that this new all-time high isn't without its consolidation. It's not like we're going up all the time, over and over and over again forever. It is more of, we went up, we had 5-6 days of rest, some news came out, the market's digesting that news positively, and we are back up again. So these little bull flags, right, these little pullbacks and consolidations that we're seeing in the market are resolving higher, and that's what we expect to see in a bull market. We expect that to continue until we enter a bear market. So I'm just going to keep betting that things are going to continue to move higher, and that's what we're seeing here. So nice little push up here in the SPY. Again, these overall highs we need to watch. If we take a look at the Qs, going to be roughly the same thing, but we're getting some good relative strength in the Qs with NVIDIA moving and all of these names. So the Qs are above that kind of pre-market base, holding the CPI rally really well, right up near highs. The SPY a little bit under the weather, and I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that JP Morgan was like neutral, right? It's meh.
What's up, traders?
Hey, Cheater, how's it going?
Another day.
How is it over on the other side? It's a good day to be a bull for sure.
Hey, man, when you call AMD at 116, they're all gonna keep hating me.
Yeah, that's
I mean, 116, guys. We're at 154 now, guys. We're almost to my box that I drew, and I was, I didn't think we'd get there that fast, but I was thinking somewhere above 180. Who knows? It could be this month. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we get back to those all-time highs, because this has definitely been a high shorted name, right? There's been a lot of, I even spoke to a guy who runs a fund, and their whole thing is they buy the strongest one, short the weakest one. So for a long time, you made a lot of money owning NVIDIA, shorting AMD. That trade is unwinding, so these shorts could be having a time.
So I think it's also important to show this, guys. There's a reason why I was also watching AMD a lot, and I think that a lot of times when when you hear the hype around the name, right? This was a name that was one of the most thought, buy this stock for 2025 and you'll get the best return, right? Like, this was the stock pick of all the analysts out there that are in technology. They were all picking AMD. But then what happened, right? The market happened, right? This is why I talk about there's 4 variables a lot of times. There's technicals, fundamentals, story for one stock, but then there's the overall market. Sometimes the overall market would just ruin a trade, right? Just because the overall market was going down, AMD got that drag, right? But if you actually look at the long-term chart and you look at the monthly, look how this thing came to this trend line, right? This trend line was very important, right? I created this on May 14th, 5/14. You can see it there. And I was watching to see, would that would it use that line that it's used in the past, where it's done that major retracement in the past and then taken off, right? So I just look for the same kind of thing, right? And then really this one, I tried to play it earlier down there and I didn't play it well. That's fine. Just wait for the break of the trend line and look for the throwback look, right? Like, you got so many looks off this trend line. Even after this break, if you didn't catch it, this first one, the 124, this one where it came back to 115, this was a gift. As a gift as it gets there, man. And that could be the way that you go about these. So looking for more of these still, these like wick patterns, right? These big wick patterns. These are the ones that get the traders out. And then all of a sudden, everyone starts lining in, right? But hey, this is why I also don't think it's bad to buy like bottoms. You just have to buy bottoms and like quality stocks, right? Names that everyone wanted before, but now they're at a discount and people aren't even paying attention to them. That's how that's what I think. Another thing is stay with the news flow. They had a conference. Sam Altman said this chip is really good. Well, that's all you needed to hear, right?
Mhm.
Like sometimes it's about getting like a sense of approval from the industry, right? And so AMD already had like kind of some approval for their graphics, right? And their AI chips. But when you start to get Sam Altman or some real big names to really back you, that can also be another driver. And that's when this thing also got kickstarted. So, and then of course, export controls. Aren't we hearing more talk about it now? This is where we're lining to, because US had already been hinting that they were going to take off export controls to help this China deal. This is exactly what it is. It's Trump playing nice with China. And we got to watch for potentially China stocks to go. Michael, I know some people weren't watching them because they're considering value stocks. I can't blame them from considering them value stocks because they are value, but that makes me even more excited to look at them. So I don't know about you, but I'm watching Baba today as a good opportunity. It's too gapped up for me here, but I'll look for retracements to get in on the party. We talked about it yesterday. It came out with the right AI. I think that's a starter here. And then you're hearing mentions of playing nice with US.
Yeah, and again, full disclosure, I own a bunch of China already, so I'm in there. But I just really like the FXI.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you
it's
think this is
been
a time
holding
to
right near these
reload?
highs.
I know you're not
Oh
probably
yeah,
doing this, but do you think this is, if there is a time, this would be that time to reload? That
well,
would be my question to you.
I've been buying just kind of in this area as we've been holding these highs, looking for, if the US continues to go, there's going to be, we're just in that phase, I think, of China where any not bad news is bullish, right?
I
Everyone hates it so much,
agree.
right? So if it's like, okay, we have tariffs and they're 25%, I think China just rips from there. It just doesn't have to be good news, just not horrible news, not, another real estate company going bankrupt or something like that. Just anything that's at all okay. I think we rip here.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that one of the things you're going to get is a real US and China deal. You don't think Trump wants to get it done? He does. He just wants it to be really beneficial for him,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so here's the thing, right? You're already seeing the works of it. This is where I tell you guys that right now with that whole like foreign bribery thing, it's not about me just bashing about that, but these are how deals get done underneath the ropes, hidden inside. Yes, now you start to see chips being sold, and then all of a sudden you see the deal after this, and part of the deal is the export controls. So I'll be waiting instead of sell the news, waiting for that to happen, right? I'm here buying the rumor, already been buying it up on like AMAT and stuff, and those stocks continue to go higher. There's a reason why they're on breakout city. And so at this
Mm-hmm.
case, I think it's very hard to be bearish. And what you got to look at are where are the areas of like, and we're not going to call it, we won't even call it the bubble, but bubble environment. Really parabolic style breakouts is what you want to be kind of riding right now. They're working. just to kind of shift over, I don't know if you talked about the nuclear trade yet, but look at the trade like in LEU. LEU is just,
Well, like,
it's just,
yeah.
it's incredible. It's incredible, this chart, you
And
know?
yeah, NLR as a whole, like this is just an insane chart. We have
Yeah.
a grind higher, and then maybe a week or two of consolidation, then a breakout, another week or two of consolidation, then a breakout. This is how bull markets form, right? Is
Yeah.
you have a move and then sideways consolidation, and during that sideways consolidation, everyone gets all bared up, and it's the end of the world, and blah blah. And then you get your next push higher over and over again. So
you know, your
SMR
boy
is what
on the playbook definitely screwed this one up yesterday. Add this one on the playbook, didn't even play it. SMR, baby. Wow. What a move, right? There it is, guys. And now, what about NNE on this? So that's what I was talking about on Trader TV. NNE looks prime here now. It always follows
Yeah.
it. It doesn't lead. I've already learned. SMR leads and NE lags. So now I
Well,
look for the lag.
and I think, yeah, from the fundamental point of view, SMR has just been a leader in general. But then you're right.
Mhm.
What happens is NNE is more of like the degen bet. So the people will see one moving and they'll say, well, I'll go to the crazy one, because the volatility of NNE is just way more, right? It's
Yeah,
just
I
way
don't even think it's
crazier
the
on both
people. I think
sides.
it's the computers. But that's just what I
Could
think
be.
it is.
It
I
would
think it's
happen
also like,
faster than that.
yeah, like kind of like there's these algos I know for sure that do these basket buys approach, right? They know exactly what I'm trying to do also. They know the industry outlook kind of thing. They have the watch list and they just go buying. They'll shift. I think they take a little bit of a shot on the leader and then they just start like kind of slowly buying the other ones to try to maybe catch up on some kind of like mean reversion, right? Regardless if SMR goes down, probably NNE is still climbing higher, and they're able to make some money here. SMR is going to be a hard play today. I think it's a little extended. Yesterday was a big move, but yeah,
Mhm.
I'll be watching for these names, right? What about different material plays too? Because I want to keep it going. I talked about how it's not just nuclear, right? Nuclear is jumping off the energy trade, but materials are riding high, man. It's the craziest move I've seen in materials, probably in my whole trading career. I think we got to
So,
continue to
yeah.
watch to ride this material wave, man. Look
Yeah, and
into
it's got a long to go on the actual materials ETF. XLI
exactly.
has
So
been
I
just
started
a
to see
nice ride.
coal getting strong. You remember how I was trading METC? Now take a look at METC.
Yeah, right.
Take
This is
off,
one of
man.
those, right, and it makes sense. If it's all, we talk about this all the time. It's the
Yep.
third or fourth derivatives. Once everybody knows what NVIDIA is going to do, right? So everyone has a good understanding of this is how much NVIDIA will make, right? This is how many widgets they're going to sell. All of that is figured out pretty quickly. So what we need to do is start to say, okay, well, is not getting that kind of effect right now? And that is what's down the road. So like XLI is great because you actually have to build these centers. They're physical objects for when you're talking about AI. They have to build the data center and they've got to move the things there and they've got it right. So there's a lot of, although this is right all AI and computerized and blah blah, the physical world still has to do a lot of things, and that's what you're seeing when you're seeing things like XLI moving higher. It's because John Deere and all these people have to be Caterpillar, have to build the facilities. Their equipment needs to be used to build the facilities. And when it comes to all of these energy and resource plays, they're all ways to play. How are we going to power this kind of thing, right? And then, yeah, I agree with TAC where BTU actually looks really nice. This
Yeah,
level I got here, gapping above that today.
let's just say there was two stocks I mentioned for day trades. I mentioned BTU in the coal space out the gates. I'm looking for NNE. And then there's one more that's for the swing. That's APLD. We talked about that yesterday. It did have a decent move. And then overnight, it's already up there towards 985. That's why I wanted to get in it yesterday, because I thought as close to the daily support as possible. What's going on is lately, guys, I've been trying to do these faster swing trades / day trades, and it's costing me a little bit on the volatility, right? So I got to expand a little bit, try to get a little bit closer towards more of those daily supports. And that's what I like to use a lot, right? That confluence of charts is really the best way to do it. Using the daily really to pick your stocks, right? Then using your day trading abilities to master the execution of the swing trade, right? And so that's why I think day trading skills are a good thing, especially if you're a subjective trader, right? If you're not, getting that system execution there, well, then you're going to have to use some of your day trading skills to get the better entry, right? So looking for those dip buys, looking for things like that, or trying to beat the VWAP, right? Like we've talked about, Michael, how a lot of times it's, you get it on your trade desk and you got to beat the VWAP and you're a good trader, right? Viewed at least from a lot of trading desks. So things like that, I think are ways to look at it and make improvements on swing trades. Like I've been struggling on APALD here, but looks good. And
I think
is
also
definitely on the radar too.
Yeah, I think you also need to know your time frame, right? I see a lot of people looking to buy and hold something for a week, and they're using, going the other extreme that you were mentioning, using like a 1-minute chart and trying to risk like 10 cents to buy and hold something for a week or so. So just, know your time frame, try to get the best price you can. Zooming into an intraday chart can definitely give you a better price. Just don't go too tight and go too crazy, right? There's just no way you're going to consistently, be able to make $5 on a good swing trade, but only risk 5 cents, right? If anyone was doing that consistently, oh man, they're having a great time. But you see WFC come through a list here. Oh, Wells Fargo is breaking that base just a little bit. So that's an interesting one here. Some of these very mixed reaction to this JP Morgan kind of news, where we got some good, some bad, but not really anything crazy like I'd expect. So once again, as always, the option traders win again. The sellers of the options, not the buyers. They're getting a good one out of this. And Wells Fargo, because Wells Fargo is down 2.5%. That's well inside the expected move. JP Morgan is up 0.4%. So just imagine, there's a lot of people out there who are taking big bets saying this is going to be a big deal for JP Morgan, and the guys who sold the options, right? Those are the guys who do the best. And usually that ends up being the case. And now every now and then, if you're the option seller, you get smacked. But in this case, they're doing fantastic. Right? We're seeing SMCI is triggering here as well. So I'm just kind of setting up this order. I need to, the next 2 updates that are happening to the bot here. One is I need to kind of make it so that it can trade in the pre-market. And that's just basically replacing market orders for limit orders and replacing stop losses for other limit orders. That trigger when the stop happens, because I'd like to just be able to set these things up overnight or very early in the morning before I wake the kids up and go to the gym, and just come home to a nice green day, which you certainly can do as long as you pick your targets in the pre-market right and make sure there's a lot of volume there. It's, again, something that can definitely be done. That and the repeating of trades, I still need to find some time to sit down and fix, but it'll be good. And I'll also be doing just a little announcement, a big video, and a whole course and a lessons for you guys on how to set all this up if you're interested in trading with Trade the Pool, and or really anyone. I think it will be a good one for it. And being more systematic and getting a robot to do at least some of the trading. So we're actually going to, in Rando like this, the lesson that we're going to use here is going to be the opening range break. So everyone who takes the course will get a opening range break code that they could copy and paste into TrendSpider or TradingView and pick which stocks you want to trade an opening range break on and have those automated for you fully. So that'll be really,
Did you
really
hear
cool.
that, Rando? Did you hear that?
Fully systematic. So yes, I'll be building the code. It's not going to be like a coding thing. Like that'd be boring as heck. But it's just I need an example to show you guys, and I figure an opening range break is just a nice, simple kind of trade setup that works. We know it works, and then all you'll have to do is pick your targets, hit a couple buttons, and trade the pool. We'll trade all the opening range breaks with a stop loss, position sizing, profit target, whole 9 yards. You just pick your targets in the morning. I think will be really, really cool, and a really good way to get people kind of onboarded. So I just need the children to stop getting sick and to stop screaming around the house so I can have a few minutes to finalize and put this course together. But this will be part of the launch, which I think is planned for August
That
sometime.
daycare life is probably not you, man. It's probably all those other kids.
Oh, it's you. Yeah. Your guys don't go to daycare yet, do they?
Yeah, man. That's why I keep them out, man, because I thought
It's just, we were
those
hoping
kids are
with the
dirty,
second
man.
one. Well, yeah, we're hoping like we're okay. The second one's got to be better because the first one's just been infecting her whole life, and no, second she
Oh
went.
man,
Yeah,
it's
it's
tough.
bad.
It's a tough life, man. Hope they get better soon, though. It's not
Oh, they will.
no fun having sick kids, man.
They bounce back very quick. Me, not so much.
Yeah,
when
no,
you're
that's
old, you don't bounce back nearly as
back
quick.
in a couple hours. They're rocking off the walls, man. What's going on out there, guys? How we doing? Sean, do you ever check for spread? So how do you deal with spread? There you go. You're getting a question about spread here.
You could in the code if you want it, but I just find that liquidity, your normal liquidity measures count. So like some of the ones that I'm watching here in the pre-market, we can just go through that I already put in, right? So SMR, for example, right? That VWAP to VWAP short, if this moves a little bit too overdone, I can kind of just eyeball this as I'm going through them in the pre-market and say, okay, this could be traded, not necessarily in the pre-market, but there'll definitely be enough on the open, right? QBTS, same thing. And so I just look to see how many gaps there are in the candle and craziness like that. Spread affects me a little bit less than a lot of people because I'm not taking a big trade or two. I'm spreading my trades out. I took 42 trades with the robot yesterday, in and out, and we're both flat on the account still as I work out some of these other issues. But in my personal account, I've been trading obviously these for a while and doing very well. So a lot of it, you can, again, I think you can check with the code on entry and say, hey, if the spread's too big, don't take the trade. I would just substitute that for volume done today. You could say skip the trade if there's X amount of volume, trade it today, and it'll give you a pretty decent little facsimile. So
All right, we'll see what's going on here towards the open. A lot of stocks still moving out there. And what you think of some of the banks, the action out there? It's not really moving much this morning. Maybe Citi can wake it up. Is Citi reporting today? Let me check. Let me double check on that.
Yeah,
I
they
think
already reported.
is that the one?
So
they already reported. They love to report like really close to 9. So I was watching that one. Did it
they
get
beat
things
top
going?
and bottom.
Okay, they love to get things going. I've seen this one make the trade go before, so I'll be watching for the City trade. I like it. I like it. I'm telling you, man. I've seen this thing all of a sudden, like the banks are not going. They're like kind of held back. All of a sudden, City's report comes out. For some reason, they start to like it, and then it starts to rock and roll the other ones, right? And so you can look at the other ones to also like say, okay, well, are they starting to get hot from Cities out? Like when that moment happened, what was the price action? JPM starting to look a lot better. Starting to look a lot better here.
But yeah, the option sellers, man, those are the guys. Those are the guys with the golden ticket on these bank earnings because it was just a massive volatility going into the night before, and both that and CPI were pretty like muted events. There's a lot of people out there that probably sold a whole bunch of iron condors and straddles and all that and raked in a whole bunch of cash. But means it's good. I don't like that, when things gap up too much, I'm always looking to fade them because as soon as the gap's too large, statistically, we know that, there's more of a chance that you get a little bit of fade there. In this case, when the gap's not that big, maybe you have a little more intraday action that you could play to the long side here.
All right, guys, just took a little bit of a swing trade entry there. Only took 10 shares there on JPM, but I'm willing to wait for a little bit more pullback towards like 289. or 288 to add a little bit here. There's 288 on the bid for me. So I'm going to try to get it here out the gates. There's the gates open here, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go trading. Let's have some fun.
We are perfectly hedged now because my bot. Oh no, that wasn't JP Morgan. I'm getting a lot of trades pop through here. So let's see. Some SMCX, some SMCI trading, some ASTS, some space names. A lot of things on the go here. So we'll keep a close eye.
Ooh, got some alerts
on what's
out
happening.
There. LUMN is one of my stocks that I'm alerting right now. That's one of the stocks I've been waiting for on a swing trade. It looks good today. It's starting to get going on the volume. We'll see if that really makes a breakout today. All right,
Yeah,
there's JP Morgan trying to get a little bit more here of JP Morgan as it starts to go back towards the 290s where I got in. There you guys see me add a little bit there. This is on a swing trade, so I'm not trying to add too much too quickly. But let's see if this really starts to get going, JPM. All right,
yeah,
there's
nice
some
little
alerts,
push right off the
APLD and block.
Yeah, right. Nice little push right off the bat there on JP Morgan. We have the SPY just holding its ground. Remember, we've
Looks
got
good
that
there.
128, I think, is the number on the SPY to beat. So we'll make sure that I got a little quick watch on that.
All right, let's start seeing this get going here.
QS.
291s, I might add a little bit more. There's NNE with a pullback entry look. Let's take a look here. 36 is the look on the pullback. Watching, because this has two like areas to come in on this. This is like the resistance look. There's JPM looking good there. There's NNE pulling back, looking at this as a potential entry. Do I go on the resistance of prior to yesterday's action or support? Support is back towards 35.65. So I'll look for the 65s there. See if we can pull back a little bit further on NNE, but definitely on the radar. There's CoreWeave with an alert there. CoreWeave ripping higher. That's going to help APLD there. There's JPM going higher. That looks good there for me on JPM. I'm looking for an add on JPM. It's already pushing 292 now. We're looking good here as this starts to lift. Looking for pullbacks at 291s or slightly below that for ads here. We'll see if we get that. Oof, alerts are going all around out here today,
Yeah,
guys.
I'm getting flooded with alerts, which is great.
With alerts. Alert is right, my friend. A lot of alerts coming hard today into play
We'll
here.
have to SPY selling a little bit here, pulling back. So just be careful for the longs. We're getting we're challenging VWAP. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when and if we reach that VWAP here.
APLD pulled back there. Didn't get it tried to break out through the 990s. I'm looking for another pullback towards 960, but let's see if this starts to get going here. It is trying to make the move there. APLD, we'll see if it gets going there. SPY overall, MP is insane. Yes, MP is insane. And with that being said, UUU is the one that I can play off of this. It's been making a decent move. Looking at lithium names, it continue pushing higher, but yeah, MP is just an absolute beast. ALB is one name to keep an eye out for. Let's see if this can go higher. I like this on the swing look. It's pulling back. Still needs to get maybe to the 9 EMA, but not a bad one to watch for. APLD looking interesting. Let's go to my watch list right quick, see what's leading at the top here. Ouster on the breakout. So this one's a good one to look if you're looking for a high flyer today. Ouster starting to get going here. I like the pullback look here. Let's see if we can get it on the VWAP. Slightly at VWAP right now. I'd like it at 2560s if we can just pull back just one more time here. Oof, right back towards 26.
Yeah, the SPY is breaking here to just broke under VWAP, so just be careful there.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of a dump in some areas. Let's look at what sector's dragging this a little bit. Looks like a lot down from the open. Technology is actually a little green here. What's being dragged is a lot of utilities, communications, some defensive, some cyclical trade coming off. Some financials starting to get down here a little bit here. JPM pulling back a little bit. We'll get my ad at 288 if it does go through there. But let's see what happens there. APLD finally just pulling back there, giving me that opportunity for the cut down look. So yeah, you're seeing some stocks pull back here. They're going to give you some opportunities there. We'll see what happens with those cut downs.
So just
All
if you
right.
guys know why I've been scrambling a bit, I have to figure out this trade once a day thing. So let's go here. This is the current holdings already today. So a lot of trades going through. You can see a lot from the short side. Actually, the only long is SQQQ. So a market pullback here would obviously be good for me. But again, you can see a lot of trades. Another one just kind of came through there. So yeah, there's a lot going on over here. And the problem is, again, just to go through what's happening. Problem is that I have to manually go in and pause the alert after it triggers, which I just need to figure out a programmatic solution for, which I want to do before I do this lesson. But yeah, so far the best one that's working out right now is this SMR trade. So we talked about this right off the open too, that right gap up a little bit too much. I'm looking for that VWAP to VWAP move. So we shorted under VWAP there, and you can see the alerts coming through fast and furious. So yeah, so we're getting close to that second day VWAP. If we hit that, that will end up being the out on that. But as I look here, again, I have to go through these individually and say, okay, Citigroup triggered. So let's pause that alert and so on and so forth, which again is not ideal, but that's what we do. So we keep building, we come across problems and we build solutions for those problems over and over again.
All right, stop place there on JPM. You need to start seeing the market bounce here. If not, going to go ahead and get out of that. Now I'm seeing the market start to get that bounce, so we're not looking too bad. Just need a little bit more bounce here. Let's see if it can get the bounce. Start to get this to get back higher here. SPY starting to bounce a little bit there. Let's see if some technology names start to get the bounce. AMD ripped up at the gates there. NVIDIA starting to play catch up here. Now starting to look and move higher. That can definitely help the market out. So keep your eyes on that. Apple pushing strong. Amazon made some good mentions that I'd be keeping an eye out for, guys. So you got to look at the big boys.
Moving here too.
Yeah, see if the big boys can lead the market. If those go higher, Qs can lift a little bit stronger than the SPY. I'd be watching those Qs. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, the Qs definitely all morning outperformed here. Really, what's weighing us? Because NVIDIA up 5%. A lot of the banks here.
It's honestly weird.
Down.
I mean, but the banks are it is down a decent amount, but it's not even over 1%. Technology's up over 1% overall, so
yeah, we got
a little bit of a mix.
down a bit, Spotify, MicroStrategy. So yeah, I guess Bitcoin being down could weigh on the market a little bit now that everything in the world is a Bitcoin play. But yeah, we're just selling. It might be one of those we want to come and retest. Maybe this 625 area would just be these prior highs. And then from there, maybe get a bounce. Because if you look at it, the pre-market low is 626. And then we got 624 is the after hours low, or the 2-day VWAP. So we could move a fair bit and still be really, really bullish on the day.
Looking around at some stocks out there, did get some pullbacks and some opportunities. So just got to look out there, guys. What's doing well? FLNC really ripping. AMD just shredding, guys. Now 158 on that push there. So not a bad stock to look at. Pony had a nice rip out the gates there today. Looking around to see what's able to hold its trend here. Coin with a nice move.
Jeez, yeah. So, and this is how, I'll just show you guys. This is usually how the days seem to open up for me, where right, you're taking a bunch of trades, and then down here is the realized P&L, which is right negative $55. Then here is the open P&L, which is positive 150. And again, we're risking about $30, give or take on any given trade. But this seems to be what happens: is you have the initial move, and then it clears out the losers, hopefully, if you have your stop set correctly, very quickly. And then what you're left with is a basket of stocks that are moving in your direction. So things seem to be calming down a little bit now, which is good. So once we get this one more issue fixed, then I think it will be fully systematic. I'd say we're 90% on the way there. If we take a look at the SPY, we're still continuing to bleed a little bit. This doesn't seem aggressive. The candles are small. The volume seems weak. It's just one of those, we've gapped up, to all-time highs. I think the Qs were up almost 1% at that point, and they're getting pulled down. Now, if we look at what's doing well and what isn't, you can see big cap tech is kind of leading us here, right? So we're up 0.5% still on the Qs, where the Dow is now negative on the day. So this is very much a big cap tech good, and then everything else getting a little bit there of a lag. So I love these markets because you just have to focus on the areas that make the most sense. When you have some stuff going up, some stuff going down, you can end up doing pretty well there. So we continue to bleed here. Now we're through, or roughly at, we could say this zone right here, which we bounced on twice. We're through that. Now the question is, do we just come in, test 2-day VWAP, or test yesterday's high, and then really
VIX
start to
jumping,
bounce?
man. Remember, I talk about you're going to pay attention to the VIX when it does a 60-cent pop. It's 60 cents right now at the gates here. So straight up out the gates here. 60 cents on the VIX tells us that, yeah, you're seeing at least some decline here. That's pretty strong. Let's see if it catches here at 626. But you need to start seeing the tech names kind of lead it up. Q's still down here. What's getting washed in the Q's? Let's see. Figure it out.
Yeah, it's one thing I like about your TC2000 is that component.
Yeah, I
You can
can
bring
tell
up
you
the
right now.
components really
So
quickly.
CEG, Grail, Dash down. So CEG, of course, nuclear trade getting hit
Yeah.
hard there. TTD, they got it, the S&P inclusion. That's taking a big hit there. So some
Yeah.
names definitely down there. Airbnb down a decent amount there. So you got Netflix down, showing up there. Marriott booking. Seems like the leisure trade falling off a little bit. ARM down, the CrowdStrike down. So some of those cybersecurity names still taking a little bit more of a pullback. Seeing Micron down now. So it's just a little bit of a shake here out the gates. Let's see if those tech names can hold here, like a Micron right near VWAP.
Ooh, did I get the boop boop from lack of buying power? Yes, we did it, boys. We ran out of buying power. Good. All right.
Congratulations, my friend.
That's what I want to see. Find something with a complete edge and
And running out of money.
just always using buying power on very small edges, diversified across a whole bunch of trades. That's the life. But yes, so I tried to short TSLL. That's where I heard the out of buying power button, because you can see this one, you really can't get going. So it'd just be, again, VWAP to VWAP trade. In most of these cases, that's what's happening here. And what will happen is it will continue to send orders every time orders are valid, and trade the pool will just reject them for lack of buying power. And then if something gets sold, right, covered for a win or covered for a loss, then it will kind of reactivate that. So some selling in the banks, right? JP Morgan back down. Citigroup, I am short currently, looking for that 2-day VWAP move. WFC, right? This one, Wells Fargo, is continuing to break down. I'm actually got this one on the list for a potential long. It's just getting both sides there, right? SOUN. Short this name as well. Again, looking for the 2-day VWAP. Just a lot of these. SMR. This one came so close to the 2-day VWAP and then is bouncing pretty significantly. That's unfortunate, but just the nature of the game. Came a couple ticks away. Didn't get my fill there. And now that I'm doing so much, it's going to be really hard to, take partials and things like that. But yeah, a little pop here in Bitcoin. That's a good thing to see. A good potential rally for the market.
Ethereum doing really well. So that ETH, you really rocking and rolling.
Oh, yeah. Nice little break there in Ethereum. What about the memes? No, Solana not participating just yet. Ripple, this chart. That Ripple chart looks insane. Same with that XLM. Just nuts. So yeah, very bifurcated market, which are the best markets in my opinion. That's what ideally I would love that all the time. So trading long USD. I'm also long a lot of USD, and just the idea behind that is simply, I think I went over this in a video recently. Everyone in the world is short the United States dollar. It is the most short that we've been in a very long time, and we're kind of reclaiming this zone right here. So I took that, and I did that with I think it's 6E. Yeah. So short a little bit of 6E, and then, you know, spread it across some of these other ones as well, right? UUP, yeah, that's another way to do it. From the ETF front, UUP, this triggers me. So make sure you're doing your analysis on the Dixie, on the DXY. I think this was like a special dividend or something that happened right here, and that kind of messes up the look of the chart just a little bit if you're going that far out. That's why you do your analysis on the underlying, and then you can use for the kind of playing with, you can take a look at the whatever it is you want to play, you just punch into. But,
long some
yeah.
APLD there. Trying to take a little bit of this pullback, see if we could start to kind of come climbing back here. Qs are starting to come back here, so I'm taking a shot with that. And SPY starting to make a little bit of a move back here. Let's see if some stocks can lead here. Another thing is trying to stay with the strength, right? Ouster has pulled back there. I'm looking at that one as a potential pullback entry. I'll try that one now. All right,
Yeah,
taking a little bit
quick
of
look
Ouster
here.
off the low there. $30 risk here. Couple of $30 risks there and some swings. And then JPM is the bigger trade that I'm trying to take.
Yeah, this doesn't feel like a scary pullback. I know as the quant, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it just kind of feels like hey, we gapped up a whole lot. Let's pull her in a bit. Let's test to see where buyers come in, if buyers come in. It's if we end up holding, because we bounce right off the pre-market low. So the question is, do we hold that pre-market low and start to push higher? Or is that just, a little bit of a dead cat kind of bounce? And again, we have nothing except a bunch of Fed dudes that I've never heard of talking. So it should be a pretty easy day when it comes to those things.
Ouster looks good here, guys. We'll see if we can get that to rock and roll. You guys see I got the 25.57 there. So let's see if that starts to rock and gets right back up. So just one of the things I even mentioned on Trader TV today, I said, this is the type of market where you really need to look at your watch list and see what's leading, where the strength is, and try to stay with the strength. Because if you don't, this is how this market's going to really kind of hit you hard. There's going to be times where stocks like UMAC that did really well go down 4% out the gates, right? You got to wait for those washouts too. Then VWAP recoveries. That one looks good. You got that one, right? It's a nice one on the recovery.
Which this is the beauty of, day trading versus swing is, UMAC from a daily chart looks good. I was long it yesterday and had a really good winner on it yesterday. And then I can come in, I can short it today and, take hopefully a good trade on that one as well. So yeah, being able to play both sides of something that if, I was swinging, I would just be long. It's also really cool that you can do this via prop, because there may be problems depending on your broker and tax code and that kind of thing of, wanting to be long and short something. So if you were swinging something long and you wanted to short it intraday, you'd almost just have to sell some and buy it back, and tax implications and all that kind of stuff. So it's, a couple good reasons there to potentially, even if you have a good and a decent sized account, to trade prop. And, that's going to be part of my whole systematic course as well, is that, hey man, if you're trading and you're doing well and you got a, $200,000 brokerage account and you're trading that and things are going fine. Okay, well, if you're a systematic guy, why not open another $200,000 prop account and just take the trades twice across two different things? So
why not?
Bounce continuing here in the market, trying, right? It's like we've hit this low and we are kind of just flirting with this zone. The Qs are trying here as well. So it's the zone. It's the zone that we're battling here. Your APLD curling back up. So Sean's talking about your APLD trade. Yeah, it is curling back up, trying to get back through VWAP. This would actually meet barely, maybe technically, that setup that we're looking to build there, Mitch. Maybe. I don't know. like
Yeah.
by the penny.
No,
But
this one's a
yeah,
little.
an
This one's a
undercut of
little. I wouldn't consider it, man. I'd consider that UMAC a cleaner one, and sometimes you got to find the cleaner ones, right, to build the system off of. This would not be a clean entry to me, because it didn't undercut, right? And what we're looking for is more big volume on that support break. That big volume tells us two things. It could either be what shorts getting in, or sellers or buyers getting out, and that volume actually can help create the move, right? So I think on that APLD, it's a little different. I wanted it to be that kind of move, but it did up out the gates. So to me, that's not that move, right? We can look for moves like that. I'll let you guys know if I see any ETHU on the move, guys. That could help a name like SBET continue here. That's looking good right now.
Yeah.
But ETHU doing really well now. BMNR could even make a move off of that. We'll see what happens. I like also BTBT. That's starting to recover a little bit today. So keep your eyes on that one. That one's on the 9 EMA. You guys know how I love stocks on the 9 EMA and a bull flag. So that one's really pretty this morning. Could get going. It's a smaller name, but it did the move today. It did our move that we like. So
which one was that?
BTBT.
BTBT. And again, I'm coming for you, Mitch. Next is Mitch becoming a systematic trader with this stuff.
Yes, with this strategy right here. And then sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
I think that will be the next course, which I think will be great. I think we kind of do that. I don't know. We could do it even online. Maybe take a half hour a day on slow days.
I took BTBT.
And yeah, I will. I'll sit with you and we'll share screens and we'll go through and build it out. I think that'll be really cool for the people to watch. Use AI, do the whole thing. I think it'll be really, really cool.
All right, guys. So what I'm going to do here, guys, is something that I've been trying to do more of, and I used to do it kind of as a rule, and I think I need to go back to it a little bit. So like right now on this JPM, right? Like it was deep in the red there for me, a little bit more than I would really like. And as part of the subjectiveness is also being able to limit down, right, and get out of some. So in this case here, I know that I'm not in the best position of my entry. I want to actually reduce risk here. I'm just going to take it out there. I took out half of the size that I put in there, and now I can manage a lot of this risk a lot better, right? So I took a $31 hit there. Now I can manage it towards like 56. Now the loss is about $80 on that JPM if I lose versus 200, right? And so that keeps me in different trades here and lets me keep trading it. Even though it looks good, I need to be a manager of risk first, then worry about reward, right? So here it is. JPM starting to get hot here. That's a good looking trade now as it starts to recover, but you have to be in at the right spots. Look at the other trades here, guys. They're doing well. I'm rocking and rolling on some swings here, and I'm opening up more. What did I do? Just went a little smaller, but let's see if these can really start to work. APLD doing well. Alster really starting to move there. So let's see if Alster can move here. And that's riding what? The theme. So I see Archer starting to move there too. Archer's the one that I'll be watching. I talked about it yesterday. Joby's a nice setup there also. Look at that ride up on Joby in the pre-market. So maybe one more fake to 13 and then a recovery above 1320s today on Joby. Looks pretty good there. Coming back to you, man. What you got?
I don't know why I'm in Quantum Escape. That's what I'm like. It's like sometimes you just got to go through and look.
So what we're going to do, Rando has a good question here. He's asking about how do we get your course, Michael? So what we're going to do is we're going to actually start, I'm going to get a form or something like that so that you guys can start to kind of log in, get ready for it. It's not done just yet, but I can tell you right now, I'll even be working with Michael to get all the bells and whistles so that you guys can understand it also. Get ready, guys. We're going to jump into a lot of different areas, also explaining more and more how you guys can be doing this yourself, right? That's what it's all about. So, hey, another thing, of course, check out my man Stats Edge, right? Like, I got to be honest, right? If you're not already checking out more of Michael Noss, not just here on Trade the Pool, right? Well, you should be doing so, especially you, my man Rando. Hit him up.
Yeah, it's don't worry, we'll be yelling loudly about it when it's getting close to done. So we are going to kind of line it up with the launch of the ability to systems trade. So the idea is that there's going to be a little course on the benefits of systematic trading, like me pitching you why you should take a look at it, And then, yeah, some general lessons. I'm not going to go too deep on, nitty gritty kind of coding type stuff because A, you can do a lot of that with AI now, and B, the company that we're using to sync the two accounts has a lot of great work on that already. So it'll just be kind of, this is the tools that you need. This is a good way to put them together. And again, I always find as someone who's not a coder myself, it's so much easier if somebody gives me like a starting bit of code that works, and then I can get in there and I can kind of tweak it and change it around. It's way easier than to, start than just get right into it. So that's one of those things that I think it makes a lot of sense to just, have that kind of benefit of that starting point. So I want to get you guys there. And then we're going to do probably a series of webinars. Another thing, again, that I just talked about that I think would be really cool that we should definitely do, Mitch, is on air, right? During that kind of last half hour of the day when things are slowing down in the market, we bring up the AI, we start to build your systems for you. You get TrendSpider and all of that going. And then just to show people that, because I don't think I'm ever going to convert you to be a fully systematic person, but this could be one setup that's trading on its own while you're taking your other setups that you're trading manually. There's no reason not to, blend the worlds, right?
Yeah, and then I think it's just a matter of coding more. I have more strategies, right? I want to code one for the penny stocks, right, Michael? I want to do a true degenerate one that can make money. I don't know about you, but I've nailed some penny stock trades here in the past, right?
Yeah.
What I think it's important is finding the right size with those penny stocks. Like I used to say for a while, like the 100 shares was such a nice size if you want to make money, because when these go, sometimes you can easily make, $6-7 a share. And so even 100 shares can easily make you 1,000 when it goes well, and you can manage it on the downside. There's a sweet spot. You need to find that sweet spot. That's the hardest thing, I think, in those trades.
And I know a 7-figure trader who does just that. He's systematic on these kind of lower float craziness, and I'm with you. It's to the point now that now that I'm out of buying power. It is just finding the strategies that end up working the best. Which I hope that I have. So this is a $25,000 account. I'm in $23,000 worth. So in theory, there could be a small trade that comes through, but and then it's just finding strategies that are better than the ones that I currently have, and then prioritizing which ones get your buying power. There's tons and tons of additional work that will come in, but I think it's something we're going to talk a lot more about, because as you guys can tell, I'm very passionate. I think most failed traders would become profitable traders if they had just systematized a little more of what they do. And what that's going to look like is going to be different to absolutely everybody. But for me, that's
Choose a little draggy still, guys. Let's see if we start to come back here. We're a little bit draggy today, guys. A little draggy. VIX is still look. This tells me a lot, guys. This is a warning sign for me. All red from the open. Everything's red from the open. I'm not saying that we're going to crash here, but it also puts me on more defense when I see a bunch of green on my screen, right? So just got to be smart here. Make sure that you understand your risk if you're taking some long shots here. I can't blame you, but the VIX and the market are telling us something else. And I got to be as honest as I can be.
And it could just be, as unfortunate would be, is we have that daily range on the SPY that we gapped up from today. So we could just be selling right back into that range. We could see 622s, 620s, right? Just get us back into that range that we broke out of, and we just don't stick the landing on the breakout. And that sucks, right? It's not a good thing. Doesn't necessarily mean we're crashing. Could just mean we are back inside of a range. I was really hoping that, earnings from the big banks and then the CPI number would shake us out of this range. But this is why you wait for the close, and why I see so many really intelligent technical analysts using line charts, is because, if you're a longer term trader and investor, as far as we never broke out of that range at all. And it doesn't really matter that we kind of ticked above there, and then the second the market opened, we sold back into it. But it looks like that's happening now. Looking at the SPY, it looks like a little bit of a bear flag breakdown. Rando's probably loving life, because just eyeballing it, his opening range break trade If he did the SPY, I mean, the Qs would be a little messier, but if he did the SPY, it would have been looking
All
great.
right. Market starting to come down here. Will Ethereum and Bitcoin kind of turn around here? ETH got to the resistance and stopped right around that 82. It's interesting for maybe an S bet to the downside here. We'll see what happens. The market is a little bit tough there, guys. Definitely seeing that downside come in. I'm staying with the green. I got out of that JPM. Glad I downed risk, right? That saved me a lot of cash there to play with on the swing account today. Let's see what happens. And I'm just going to be really defensive. Things go to the reds today, at least early here. I don't think it's about pushing it. I think it's about waiting to see the bigger move. So I went break even on APLD, break even on this Ouster, and on BTBT. It's such a small risk. I can hold the risk right now.
Yeah, I'm out of buying power and I'm short, so there's really nothing.
No mas. I
No
need more.
mas.
I need more.
Well, and the thing is too, so I'm trading this too the same as, because once I get this all working, I'm buying that big boy, that $200,000 account, right? And it's the same thing. So everything is getting position sized and risk sized. That's how I'm doing all of this. Is that I look at it and I say, okay, for the $500 account, you have 500 daily loss limit. I don't want to get anywhere near that. So about $25 or so risk on every single trade. Couple things you'll notice here is I don't have the P&L up on this screen, and that's like really on purpose. I wish, and I'm actually going to ask about this, that top bar that shows the projected balance and everything on Trader Evolution, I want to get rid of that. I want that gone. I want like some brokers have like a privacy mode in which you don't see any P&L number, because I don't, it's just this personal thing. I don't think it's useful. I think it kind of tweaks your brain to know whether you're up or down or not. But here's the setups. And you can see pretty much all short and diversified across a lot of things. And pretty much all of them are just the VWAP to VWAP move, right? So if we look at like Palantir, for example, we're looking this one to see if that would come down and hit the 2-day VWAP. We have SMR. That came so close and kind of reversed me there. And there's BMNR triggering to the long side. But of course, I'm out of buying power. So there's nothing I can do here with this one. But maybe I can max out. Maybe this is a moment where I take whatever my last little bit is and just put it in, because I think I have like 1,000 or 2,000 left. We'll put it into this one.
All right, definitely looking around here. I'm watching the bank see if they're gonna get hit here. TLT, yeah, that's a good mention. Good mention there, my friend. TLT bonds getting hit hard, man. The TLT is getting. It's a pretty hard hit there on the TLT.
Man, he just can't.
It's not a good look. That's not a good look right now, man.
No, because
that's why the market might turn here, guys. So if there's a reason why,
it's rates,
all the red on that I saw in my sectors. Now this might be the time to actually start looking for some swings, some things out there.
Bonds are much more important than stocks. And yeah, if the bonds are not participating, that's a scary time, right? So this is TNX, this is rates, and we're creeping back up. This zone is what do you call it, the Trump taco zone. Right? As soon as we get up into the 5.5 or so for rates, this is where he's doing whatever in his power to get these rates down. Because you got to remember, the government's got to pay these rates too. So this zone up here, anywhere between 4.5 and 5, this is, I don't know, I want to say emergency zone, but this is kind of, hey, watch out. And it's costing a lot of money to just finance debt. So if we get there, you're going to see, I think, a lot more rage on Twitter versus poor Powell, who doesn't want any of this stuff. And yeah, the market just continues to bleed. So this line right here is yesterday's high. It'll be interesting to see what happens if and when we get to this one. And then I'm also just watching the 2-day VWAP. So that sits between 525 and 524.50. So that 50-cent zone, if I was someone who's just discretionarily buying a trade today, that's probably where I'd be starting to bid in to this price, just somewhere inside this zone right here.
All right, guys, still hanging on to certain trades out there, but it's definitely not the most fun price action right now with that that trade that we're seeing there. Starting to see a fall there in SBET there. That looks interesting. Honestly, it's one of those days where it's like, do I go for the VIX here? It's I'm looking for the big pullback there to the 45, and then maybe it starts to actually go here. But there's some stocks that are coming back, so I'm holding on. Ouster's still looking really good here.
Well, and that's the other move, right? Grab stuff that doesn't care. So like SMR,
Yeah.
for example, that's annoying. I just got stopped out of, right? I shorted right here at 41.60, came a couple ticks from my exit, and then just got stopped out. So this one's done a round trip and is ripping. So
yeah, so that's why I like NNE now. Look a little bit at NNE. VIX pulling back there now. That's going to help.
Yeah. So it's the same. So, just focus. This is one of those times that it's really good to have something like this, or to have a scanner, to have something, because even though the market's grinding lower here, not all stocks are.
Archer looking good. I like that.
A lot of these putting in these kind of U-shaped bottoms. So, there's a lot of stuff going down. There's some stuff that's
not. Take a day trade on Archer there.
MU.
Take a day trade attempt here.
Is at lows here, but we've got a lot of other stuff that's moving higher. So
taking a day trade on Archer there to see if it starts to rip off this 11 here. Looking at NNE also as another opportunity there. It's starting to recover. I'm going for NNE here.
Yeah, and if SMR continues, that could be a good one to really focus on.
Okay, now look for a little bit of a pullback here. What we want to see is also that TLT start bottom out too, right? So you can keep an eye on that TLT. If that could bottom out, that could really help things. There goes Archer into the green there for me. So at this point, I can just try to ride the wave, right? I'm going to tighten down on the stop and look to see if this can really push away from the 11s here. Come on, Archer. All right, NNE starting to get going also, and Ouster now doing really well now, guys. That just broke the high there, guys. So looking really good on that trade. I'm going to sell a little bit here as it's at the high, just take some off there and make some money on the swing account today. Boom, boom. Took a little bit off there, paid myself an Ouster. Took some of that off there, looking for Archer to keep running on the day trade here. Let's go, Archer.
It's funny, even with the market bouncing, banks are not able to go. So you're out there for JP Morgan, right? You're protected. That was a really good one.
Yeah, that protection there saved my trades, my other ones, guys. I wouldn't have been able to stick into them. APLD now looking a lot better, right? So I'm trying to stay with the trades that I talked about this morning. More and more of trying to focus on the things that you're looking at the morning and not getting lost in the sauce here. There's Archer. Archer starting to push there, right? So on this, actually, I'm going to probably take the money. Boom. Just took the money, guys. On the day trades, I'm going to be a lot quicker here, guys. I'm going to start trying to be a little bit more of a faster day trader and then just taking longer swings and then just letting them sit, right? So like NNE right now is in the green. I'm still looking for a little pullback here to add, and then it should go. We'll see if NNE goes. Took the money there in the day trade for Archer. Doesn't mean I can't get back into Archer, but it's below 11 now. So I'd look at Archer on a pullback and look to get in. So let's go ahead. Let's have some fun, guys.
I fully endorse that. Right? I think short term, like really tight scalping, is just really, really hard, unnecessarily hard with HFT systems. So I like the idea of widen it up, a little higher time frame, even for day trading. Couldn't agree more. VNet, just to go through, this is one that we talked about in the pre-market too. So I'll highlight this as opposed to all the other ones. That one got triggered out right here for a buy. So that was a view up to view up trade. And then just to highlight a loser too, there's Palantir, right? Took this push down and then popped back up. So a couple things I'm going to look to add to the system. First one is we just got to fix the problem of the once a day per trade. And then it's going to be, hey, if you spend a little bit of time under VWAP and then it gets back through, just get out of that position. So I could have taken a couple of these things like SMR, for example, right? SMR could have been a smaller loss. PLTR could have been a smaller loss. And this is the benefit of you know, there's a lot of people out there who say, oh, you're quant, so you just turn on your bots and walk away. It's like, no, you gotta observe, because that's going to tell you things like this. Like, oh, you know, if they don't work right away, if they fail to get to that VWAP and they get back above this VWAP, just cut them. And you can, because the initial stop's here, so if the risk gets reduced to here, then that's great. So that's something I'm just going through and doing now. So like UMAC here, for example, right? Just lowering the stop down to here. So if anywhere I can reduce risk, that's just something that makes sense for me to do. And just start to reduce risk on ones that aren't doing too well, SOUN, and then, you know, keep the ones that are really paying off and trending for me. So like SOUN, I'll lower the stop here to probably like 1155. A little maintenance, right? That's about my entry price. So I can make that one a bit of a break-even thing, and that's a logical price for that. And then just start to click through, right?
All right, guys, taking one on the data storage play that I've talked about. I'm going to take a really tight stop on this one because I definitely jumped the gun here a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll take a really tight stop to see if it just takes off here. If it cuts me out, I'll reload back at support FLNC on the daily 9 EMA. I talk about these all the time. Pulled back on the daily 3 days. Now look at the strength that it's coming in. This one could actually help BE get started also above 26. I'll look for maybe potential day trade on that. Let's rock and roll, guys. Staying with the strength, looking at the top of mine on the 15 minutes. That's what I like this scanner. I can do it to the last 15 minutes and then just look at those names that are leading the pack now. Archer, look at that drive. I could have stayed in it, but hey, took the scalp, made the money. Let's keep going. Don't overthink it. APLD now breaking 10, looking really good there. UMAC looks good. Look at Ouster continuing to go here. Let's see if NNE gets going. UUU showing up. BTBT. Let's see if that one starts to move. Rigetti. Let's see if that can get back above 13 here. All right. It did go red. Now starting to work its way back. MSTR looking hot, hot, hot. And now you just got to don't go to where the weak area is. Like I even liked HIMS today. I don't care that it's red. I'm not going to worry about that one. I'm just going to go where the strength is.
All right, now we can pause that one.
Archer, that was a nice one there. Let's see if Archer can pull back to 11.
Pause that one.
So pulled back to 11.13s. I'm looking for a pullback towards 11.05 or 11s on Archer. It's a nice breakout there.
Days just started. We're what? Oh, geez. Almost an hour in. Crazy. I'm already up to 35 trades. So
penny stock making moves out of the third halt. CYCC. Oh no, hold up. I just went back. This is now what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 halts.
yeah.
On CYCC. Be careful with that name. 6 halts. Not something you want to be messing with too much.
And this is one of those, where you scroll out and it was $65 million a share at one point. Now it's $8. So can go crazy. Just did a reverse split a little bit ago. It's probably what's going on. Very, very careful with these crazy, crazy names.
All right, guys, up a couple of 3%ers on the swing trades. And I've been trying to do a little bit more of, all right, if you get it, you get it, right? Look at CYCC, opens up, goes down to 737 in a millisecond, literally a millisecond, back up to 9. Holy moly. If you got in that trade, that is one of the scariest trades I've seen, guys. That is a very dangerous trade there. I can tell you is a millisecond that it went down to 737. It just took all the size that was there and went right back up. So like if you were there sitting with a stop, you got stopped there and are staring at your screen, probably pissed off right now. It wasn't Money Mitch.
Yeah.
It wasn't Money Mitch. I know there's probably some computers out there flying out. We don't need that, guys. Take it easy. That's a really hard trade. I wouldn't say that even the computers could have traded that well because that was that fast, guys. You literally needed to be direct access to even probably get a stop there triggered that it didn't completely wreck you. I mean, even with a regular stop, remember those stops are market orders that can be crushing there, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
and that's
good move.
just in those, those are one of those, you play those games, you're going to expect that kind of craziness where there's not
Yeah.
that, it's market makers are, I know, cursed in the industry, and they're out to get you and blah blah. But they actually serve an amazing purpose, which is trying to increase liquidity. And you're trading that, I guarantee you there's no market maker taken anywhere. Everything there is a retail shenanigans, because again, that was a $65 million stock. That's $8. So
APLD doing really well, guys. Now up 7% on that. I'm up 3.75% on that. Just looking to keep riding that. Ouster pulled back a little bit here. I do have a stop in the green. I'm going to pull it back a little bit there just to break even and just let Ouster work here. See if it can get going again.
nice. Yeah, it's a nice market trying to dig in here, right? It's itching its way back up to VWAP. So
we might get a little bit of a pullback here. And so I'm watching for those pullbacks. Remember how I said the VIX could make that 45 touch? And then I was going to see if the market really wanted to dump today. The setup's there now. Now we got to be a little bit careful here. Watch to see what happens here, right? Like I just went break even on NNE on the day trade side because I was worried about a quick dump here. And I'm right off the break even. When I feel like I'm sitting there, I'm just sitting like a sitting duck versus just taking the money, right? So now in this case, APLD, my best position, I'm going to go break even on that one with the stop. And then I'm going to maybe take some money in Ouster if this doesn't want to keep going. Remember, I took some money in this already, but now I'm going to put a stop right behind the price action, take the money and run if I need to. BTBT, we're going to go break even now. Still looking good, but at this point, you can get quick sweeps. I need to start protecting myself all around. Protection's on. Watch to see the action. Instead of trading the action, I'm just going to watch the action here. It's very important here on the VXX and the SPY that we don't just get a quick dump on the SPY and it doesn't even reach the VWAP. If it does get above VWAP, that's my signal to go buying more.
Yeah, and I agree there, right? That we've moved a long way if you're looking at like a 1 minute chart to get to this VWAP level. It makes sense that at the very least we rest here. Actually, we're selling here pretty well from it already.
Everything went back to red also, just to put industry and sector conversation.
Yeah. So even if we are, say that opening drive move was kind of all we get today, maybe we grind a little lower, grind a little higher, that was a logical place to say, okay, right? If I've got some longs, maybe time to pair some of those, enter some shorts, that kind of thing. I am, every time something gets sold for either a winner or a loser, the bot replaces it with another short. So I wish I was a little bit more long, but it's just been shortened the whole day.
Yeah, day trade is on now to the short side of things, guys. That was a big rejection there on the SPY. Going to look to see if we get a flush and VIX on for the upside. So that will probably wash out my APLD. This is one of those trades where I think the daily chart looks really great on APLD. So I have to hang in on it. But the truth is the market might ruin this trade, right? So we'll see what happens. Like I talk about all the time, there's different variables. So in this case, I'm going to take a potential trade of the VIX getting a big spike here on the VXX, but still have some long exposure, right? So, hey, let's just get after it. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, it's Bitcoin's the only thing that's kind of holding up that I'm looking at. That's doing an okay job, but still a little bit of a rejection over the last few minutes. Nice base, but yeah, it's
yeah. When solar is a leading sector in technology, and that's a telling sign that's usually my sign that this is just a momentum play that's helping. So there is some plays there. If you're looking for momentum, and it's in technology, in solar names, JKS, you can see it. Some of these are really kind of making a little bit of a push. Sun run up, on the day. Look at that push, right? So that's why technology is actually up right now. If it wasn't for the solar move, the sector probably isn't up here. And that's only up 0.1 from the open. So essentially, a lot of things are down here. And we got some drag now. Basic materials is down 0.88. The material trade got the flush today in copper, aluminum, silver, gold, all taking a big beating. So those trades definitely took a bleeding there. We'll see if they come back, but that's where we're seeing a lot of the hit. Healthcare also big turnaround in healthcare. That biotech trade just fell off. So be careful out there, guys.
Taking a look at this kind of around the horn, we have IWM holding up okay. The Qs are doing relatively much better than the overall market. So showing that this is just still a lot to do with the banks. The people did not like bank earnings, I guess. So we're selling into banks, which isn't ideal. As a bit of an old school guy, I think banks are way more important than crazy meme coins or AIs or anything like that, because it's like the banks are the ones that fund all this insanity. So if they're not doing too hot, they're not having a fun time, it can kind of lead to some down movement from the rest of it as well.
Steph, are you trading CYCC?
Jeez,
I don't know about that, guys.
What do we think? Is it getting back to 65 million a share?
The thing is, this one does have the float to do a move like this, and it did the move that you want to see for the big rips, which are split right before this. So this is how you get it, like, kind of hot. I'll put a mic on the background until he comes back. But just looking at it now, Steph, yeah, we mentioned it a little while ago, but I don't know about it. I don't know. We'll see. Now I'm getting these trades to start pulling back on me, so it shows me more and more that could get stopped out on APLD, right? I mean, I'm trying to hang in there, but the market's just not doing it right now. So got to have a little bit of a risk here. So I'm going to risk like $20 on that APLD, give myself a little room here. But let's see if the VIX starts sending here. Does the VIX want to make a move here? I'm looking at the 15-minute here. Mike, oh, there you go.
I'm back. What's up, man? The dog's protecting me from Amazon, so
I can't blame him.
Went shopping. Long Amazon.
Hey, actually, Amazon's been looking great since everyone said that Prime Day was such a negative catalyst, right?
Yeah.
Look at the daily chart. Look at the daily chart. That was the day that it did this move. And they're like, oh, no. But Bezos is selling.
Yeah. News.
Michael, come on, man. There's certain news that you can pay attention to. There's certain ones you just got to really push it. And that's why also I think Michael ignores it all, because it's so much fluff. So you have to really like I've almost become like, I feel like a historian on news now sentiment, right? Like I kind of like have seen enough news when I know there's certain ones that are fluff and there's certain ones that aren't. But it takes some a long time experience to even feel it out. Like a Prime mentioned on the first day, when you have 4 days of selling, I mean, it's just the first day. If you gave me 3 of the days, and on the 4th day, you're telling me that, okay, there's no coming back, that's a little different. I'm willing to believe it then. Day 1, you're just jumping on headlines, essentially.
Yeah, I always, every piece of information I put into my brain when it comes to the market, or when it comes to really anything, is, does this make me money or does this make me happy? And I think one of those things, that's something that a lot of people need to do more on the social media space. We'll start to read, the dollar's going to zero, like every day I've been alive, there's going to be a replacement for the dollar and everything's bad and blah, blah, blah. And it's never made me money. It certainly doesn't make you happy. So why pay attention to it?
Could this be the next Palantir where we're looking back? Remember, I saw SoFi cut that 17. I'm just glad I got a friend in at 16. I'll ride his wave, right? Sometimes you got to ride your friend's wave, because I can't jump into this anymore. He's up like 44, close to 38%. But man, this is looking really, really kind of parabolic. I think it's coming for these highs. And if you remember, Palantir was very similar to this. And then I actually sold at those highs. I was here at the 40. Like, I was selling into that move. Well, SoFi, I don't know, man. This is looking pretty strong there on SoFi. If you're a SoFi trader, you ain't mad, at least. SPY here, just hanging out, guys. Just going sideways right now. We'll see what happens. Does it break
Yeah.
that low?
And that's right. There's a big possibility that the move is in, right? You had your gap up in the morning, then you had that quick kind of sell right off the open. And now it's like, okay, this is where the market thinks this is fair value or whatever you want to call it. And we just kind of chop around here for a bit, knowing that tomorrow there's another, there's PPI instead of the CPI. I know it's not as important, but
We need
could be one of
tech,
those
man.
things.
We need tech
So
here. NVIDIA is going to lift all boats. Let's see it.
that NVIDIA chart, intraday chart, looks actually really good. That's the kind of cup and handle style look there.
Looks good. Doesn't look bad on the hourly too. A lot of hourly support came in on that 9 EMA. Now holding in off this like 169 look. Could make a move at least up to, let's see if it gets to 172s and really starts to move there. That will show you a little bit more of that strength here. So a real strong move on the 15-minute candle that closes 172 gives us more of that bullish and look, engulfing look.
Yeah, it's very, I'm still short some stuff with the market moving a little bit. Oh, never mind. Higher, but we had a little bit of flush there in the SPY. That little bit is happening on the Qs, but yeah, it's definitely a big tech holding us up, right?
Yeah,
Everything
VIX
else.
is trying here.
Right? And that makes sense because, right, the VIX being tied to the S&P 500, the S&P 500 bleeding down to lows could definitely see a bit of a move there.
Adding to the VIX a little bit as the SPY goes lower there. Of course, that will cause some of these to go in the red, but I'm okay with that. I've taken some green.
So far, the day has been long big tech, short everything else, basically. Big question is, does big tech pull everything up, or does the SPY pull everything down?
All right, now we need to see at least if you're short here, I'd like to see it really break down fast here through that support, right? You don't even want to see a recovery. So now I can go in the shorter time frame. Maybe the 9 EMA rejects here, a little bounce here off the 625.80s, but I'm looking for a takedown below this if my day trade is going to jump into the green here. I'm right off of that. I just added, so that's why I'm a little bit higher. But this is looking like it's about to break down here for the first time in a long time. Another telling sign, we never got back to the VWAP. Remember I mentioned that? We never got back to the VWAP. I'll mention it again because I think that's always an important sign. I actually look for that a lot of times on the bullish side as a real bullish setup. When the market's just continuing to grind, doesn't even want to go back to the VWAP. It's not letting you in. And in this case, it probably doesn't want to let you in also on the downside. It's showing up. A lot of setups still looking decent if you're looking for bullish setups. So that's what I'd also keep an eye out. Like we talked about NVIDIA, will it take the 172? It's still trying it here, even though the VIX is trying to climb higher. We'll see what happens.
PLRZ. Steph always with the stuff I have never heard of in my life, but you always know that when you bring it up, it's going to be going crazy.
Steph, I'm with you on that one. It's not a bad one. Look at my scanner there. What are the two names? PLRZ, CYCC. So you're not off. You're not off, Steph. Can't blame you for looking at it. It's just more, is that like the names that I want to trade there? On a refresh of that, actually MP comes up. Look at that.
I was just reading about this, what happened.
MP,
so these guys did a 1 for 200 reverse, 250 reverse split. And then the news that's getting it going right now is that they had to have a panel with the NASDAQ, and they finally regained listing. So they're like, okay, we'll let you back.
We're alive.
Exchange. And it just took a 1 for 200. Crazy.
All right, so here's a stock with a good theme behind it and ripping today. USAR. Look at the move on this bad boy. Beautiful pattern here. It's in the move. It's in the parabolic move right now. I think it's in that like kind of move 3 where it hasn't gone sideways. It didn't do another flag pattern. That's how you know it's on that kind of real drive up right now. Let's see when it goes into another consolidation, another telling sign. You can see it right there on the 15 minutes. I'll show you guys this. Look at the drive there on that. it's looking strong here. Very little pullback after this flag pattern. Nice drive up. Wow, what a move there. USAR. And look at the daily pattern on this. This actually looks like it can do something, right? Like this is a long-term pattern being broken. Now I'm looking for pullbacks into that pattern, always for throwback looks, right? We talk about this all the time. If you're going to give me this pattern, I want you to come back and hold that. So now pullbacks to the VWAP, 1350, 1325, and you were in that zone for me. It's going to be looking interesting. Ooh, SPY
Yeah, that's a
breaking
nice
here.
nice play.
VXX now setting up
Nice
here.
play. Bye.
But yeah, USAR is one name that I didn't have on my radar. Now I think we got to add it. That thing is strong. VIX here trying to make the move here. SPY trying to break down. Will it break down here? We'll find out.
Yeah, it's coming in on 2-minute chart anyway. It's wicked that low like 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah.
So could be some accumulation going on in that zone, but definitely
Utilities
not
trying to bounce a little
the
bit.
best look.
Starting to drive a little bit here. VXX, I got 400 shares there at the 45.27. Looking to see if this is just going to break out here towards 45.70s and really start to get going. At this point, I can start looking at the names that are actually flushing down. This looks like a short to me. SBET is starting to get hit hard. Some RCAT, even APLD has been pulling back as of late. So I start to look at the daily, what's getting hit the most, and actually those actually look like potential shorts now. So let's see what's getting hit hard. UMAC down 8%, QUBT, some quantum names really showing up there. Grail, HIMS really weak. Rigetti, there's a move down on the SPY there. That's going to help the VIX trade. Now you're starting to see some fades, right? Some fades away. So just be careful out there. A lot of fades starting to happen. Clean Spark is one that I can short. That's one I like short here.
And it's funny, as the SPY is selling here, getting to that area, and I'll show you here where I was saying, hey, this would be kind of the zone that I'd look to start picking it up at. Where I'm just looking at Citigroup here, holding on pretty well. JP Morgan stopped going down. So at least these guys have stopped going down. And that's kind of crazy to see considering what's happening here to the market, right? So the SPY is selling, but not because the banks are. So that makes me think that if we look at the Qs, no, not really participating. So there's definitely a sector out here that's giving us a hard time. Let's take a look here at the
I think they're all are. They all are giving us a hard time.
Yeah, so this is what's going on. So look at XLV over just the last little bit here. That's what's pulling the SPY down. That's just a fall. Is that news or something? That was it that
I'm looking around.
guy?
What's up, Eldon? How you doing out there, my friend?
Because yeah, the Qs are doing fine. Finance is doing okay, holding in. Bitcoin is doing okay and it's holding in, but yeah, finance is just bleeding
Here. Bleeding.
All I see is 40 minutes ago, the Indonesia deal with Indonesia.
But watch NVIDIA coming back for 172 still. Don't lose track of NVIDIA there.
So no, nothing to necessarily cause this, but yeah, if you're looking, right, XLF, the biggest parts of the SP 500, right, are obviously XLF, XLK, right? So XLK is right at highs. This is the technology sector. This actually looks great. Nice cup and handle style action. XLF, which is your financials, which sold off the open, but have just been kind of bearing in.
Yeah.
And then XLV, which is healthcare. And you can see healthcare dramatically selling when everything else is doing a pretty good job of holding on. So that's why we're seeing the Qs here holding in, but we're seeing the SPY kind of sell. So, buying the SPY here is kind of taking a bet that these will happen. So again, this purple line right here, this is just add the text here. Yes, high. Right. So this is, so far we are bouncing off yesterday's high pretty succinctly, right? A pretty good bounce. Let's just start doing this labeling. So this is yesterday's high, and then right here is the 2-day VWAP. So that's why this is the zone that I would have been interested in potentially buying. 2-day VWAP. So if that ends up being a low, just like we mentioned before, if we end up getting back through VWAP, then that's good. I've been paring down some of the shorts on this down move just because I was really like 100% heavy to the short side. And just seeing the SPY move like this didn't get me, I wouldn't say worried, but just a little bit like, okay, maybe it's time to take some of these profits that they come in. So I was able to lock in around $100 in profits, sitting on an unrealized loss a little bit right now, but overall, a fine day.
All right, guys, took a little bit on MSTX to the short side there.
Ooh.
On the day trade.
Shorten the Bitcoins, the leveraged Bitcoins.
Yes, and I went also clean spark there on the swing style, just because I feel like we're in for a little bit of a pullback, maybe just a swing down type of pullback, a little washout. So MSTX already going into the green there for me looks good for those types of plays. So I can continue to look for that. If my APLD is going to go red here, or maybe just not hold, well, I'll at least be able to set up for a different style swing trade here. I wanted to go break even on APLD at this point because it's just being too risky now. If the SPY makes a quick move up, I can always adjust. But even BTBT, I'm like, I'm going to hold it to the 321, risk about $28, but that's it on that. Now MSTX really going into the green there for me. You guys can see that here. A little part of me thinking about adding on that, but I'm just going to let it work here. It can drop to 48 really quickly here on MSTX. So just got to let it work. Let the size do the job over time, not try to rush it too quickly. Looking good there, though. Starting to see some more down action. I can go for Mara on the short side of things if I want to for like a different play here. Blow off top look on Mara, right? Could be coming back to the 18. I think Mara's a little bit extended away, but
well, that's a lot of what Bitcoin looks like. Right? Bitcoin put in that big topping tail yesterday.
Circle. Ooh.
Selling a little bit today.
Circle short. Let's go. Let's try to get this. All right. Can I get a little bit higher on circle here? Can I get to 200 and I'll take like 20 shares there? That's the problem with circle. It's like you got to go very small size.
Oh yeah, when it moves, $1.
Yeah,
on a tick, you gotta be real careful. So SPY is back to lows. My bot is starting to lean again a little more to the long side. Again, a lot of what I'm doing is
flush there.
You consider this market making style trading or whatever it is, but buying dip, selling rips is the game plan from the day trading side of things.
All right, guys, as much as I want to just hammer down on this circle at 198, I can't do that. I got to get some type of bounce here to short into. I'm willing to do it, but at 200, right? So I'm going to put it out at 200 here, see if I get the bounce here. The SPY looking like it wants to break, but hasn't really yet.
Yeah, I'm just looking
at MSTX.
Again, it's in that zone that I had an interest in, right? This is the zone I think we kind of need to hold to kind of show this low. And if we do end up holding this zone, right, we could just bounce back up. Yesterday's high, again, being very important. When you have a big gap up like that, there's a lot of traders out there that watch just to see, let's go, does that high hold, right? It's a very simple question. If you're gapping up, because we gapped up 0.5% or so, and now we're about flat, right? The Dow is down 0.5%, and that's because the Dow contains a whole bunch of this healthcare that we saw just kind of dumping. And then the SPY is going to be a little bit of a laggard there as well. So Now we're looking at the Qs still holding up. IWM is selling because, again, IWM has a lot of healthcare in it as well. IWM is healthcare and banks. Both those things are having a bad, potentially, and at least initially, having a bit of a bad day.
This is interesting now, guys. I got a couple of short position, couple of longs. You see the swings just opened up, opening up the floodgates here as things are working. So a lot of this is also break even looks, right? So I got them in. I did go with circle there. I just went with $20 of risk off the 199.60 here. We'll see if the SPY keeps breaking down, and it's only 20 bucks of risk. That's what I like. I just tried to keep it small.
The bot picked up some Kodak. I gotta just reshare here.
Watching MSTX.
Every time I see Kodak, I'm shocked it's still a company. But yeah, I've got long a little bit of Kodak down here. Again, this is just a system that I'm working on that is looking for pullbacks into kind of generic areas here. And again, you can see right here was that low. So this had a wicked day yesterday. Always shocked that this is a company, but to be honest, that daily chart, long-term chart, doesn't look that bad on Kodak. And yeah, pulling back into an area yesterday that was important. This is kind of what this system is looking for. This is something we're doing over at Stats Edge, and I just need to figure out a way to explain it a little better. But this is one that I've done a little more back testing on. So the idea is you're just buying strong days, strong prior days as they come back into today. So a little second day play is the easiest way to put it.
USAR holding on well here. It can go for the 15. I think it's running literally hand by hand with MP. Wow. It's kind of getting that trade there, but really beautiful pattern here. Tight flag pattern towards the 15. But just wanted to call that out really quickly so you guys can see what I'm seeing, right? You see the tight flag? There's a tight flag there. All right, guys, going to have to take some profits here in MSTX there. It just bounced a pretty good amount there. I'm going to take some off there and leave the rest on a break even. So there you guys have it. Took some off there, break even on that. I got break even on the VIX day trade. If it keeps going and breaking down, I'm set up to make some money. Let's go, guys.
So we've got what?
There's the SPY looking like it wants to break.
Yeah, setting up potential, another little bear flag there. 2-day VWAP sitting right below us at 624.50. So that would be the next area if we end up breaking this base that I would take a look at to see if buyers end up coming in there. I don't see, there's nothing so far. There could be some news out there, but there's nothing catastrophic going on other than healthcare is selling. So the banks are doing okay, all things considering, hitting lows, but really not going down too aggressively. It's that XLV that's really getting smoked. So if we get a bounce in that and big cap tech holds, that could be our idea to potentially bounce here. But
I like this swing trade idea on a short for MOS. This has been a long-term trend that's starting to turn that I kind of like here to the downside. You can see here how this is kind of turned on the daily, and you can see how it's run, right? It's done the huge run. If it break this trend line here, start to hold this as resistance like it is today, your out is above 36.50s. Doesn't look bad for it to start falling back towards the 34s.
And a little bit of a down pop there in the SPY, so we got to keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, that's MSTX coming down fast there. So is Circle. We're doing good on that one, guys. I might add to that one. Just go for the win and Circle there. It's looking good. Let's see that one cut through 197 and really start flushing there.
Yeah, Bitcoin is broken 117. It's about to the low of the day here. And this kind of 116-ish, 116,500 has been a pretty important level. So we got to see what happens when we pull back and when we get there. Because that has been a pretty big zone. I can bring it up here. Let's go into BTC, USD, and then just hit like an hourly chart. You can see how I can just move this. Right, support in back here, support in back here, and you're talking right 16 to 1650. resistance up here, support back here, support here, support here, support this morning. So this is an important level. If people are going to want to buy a dip after the all-time high break, this seems like a logical place to do it. If we lose this, then maybe we're going to go back down. And if this thing fails this all-time high break that happened here at like 112, that could be a pretty disastrous scenario if we end up breaking, going all the way to 122 and then crash all the way back down. So this is a zone that I would watch pretty closely. Again, 116 to 116.50 on Bitcoin. And then, of course, all of the things that trade with Bitcoin, which there's a gazillion of them. But just look at this 2-minute chart here on Bitcoin. This is just relentless. Not aggressive, but just can't make an uptick in a long time here. Tac trade and FAZ.
SPY starting to bounce a little bit there, guys. Finally getting a little bounce.
Yeah, and we're seeing that in XLV, which this is the one that kind of broke us down. We're basing here in XLV. And I want to look at XLF as well. Undercut this low. If we rally back up through, that could be a potential low in that as well. I want to watch that. KRE holding strong. So the regional bank's actually doing way better than a lot of the other names out there, which is interesting because they're generally speaking just like higher beta banks. But the fact that they're holding on, I think, is something of note.
Mm-hmm. Looking for another cut down here on MSTX. I'm up about 80, 90 bucks. I've already taken some money on this. I'm looking for it to really start to break down here. And it's looking like it. I mean, MSTX is really dropping. That's what's giving me more that sign that, yes, this could be. I mean, look at the candle also on MSTX. It's a really kind of expansion away candle. We have a gap right underneath it. Will we go back to 46?
Of course, that will all have to do with whether Bitcoin finds support in this kind of 116 area that I was talking about, right? Because MSTX is just a Bitcoin Ponzi. So it really, whatever happens to Bitcoin is going to.
It makes sense
well,
though,
right?
but I mean, look at the candle that you got yesterday on that Bitcoin candle. That's not a pretty looking candle there. We've been talking more and more about these kind of Death Star looks. That's not looking good there. That's definitely a pullback opportunity that I think you're going to start to see people try to play the old resistance. So I would draw a box around that old resistance and put a rectangle towards the trend line and wait till that meets up with the trend line. That's the area I think for buy now in Bitcoin. We'll see what happens.
We'll go around the horn, right? Ethereum, relatively strong, holding on actually better than most. So I don't know, maybe BMNR if it calms down enough. This one's super interesting to me because it's every time we get to this low, there's just someone holding this low, this kind of 41 area really strong. Maybe it's Rando's mom who's just been like YOLOing
Rando's mom.
That zone.
Killing the game.
Holding there, looking to see if this can get back through VWAP at some point today.
Archer alert. That should help Joby. Remember, we talked about Archer back down. Would it come back down to 10 and then 11 today? It did come back a little bit there, but it's strong there. That should help Joby. Look at Joby. Look at that. Boom. There we go.
Yeah, that one's pretty insane. That triangle breakout. It's pretty wild.
Maybe a SRFM comeback, but just naming some out there. Market, though, still not coming back much, guys. It bounced and it was very short-lived.
Yeah, we're kind of grinding. And again, this zone, this was kind of my buy zone if I was taking a discretionary buy here on the market. And we're just grinding around this area. So we've got the 2-day VWAP right below us. We got this right above. Qs, right? It's still way above the low of the day, still above its pre-market low. So really, really bifurcated market. You look at the Dow. The Dow is sitting kind of right on lows, well below yesterday's low and 2-day VWAP, just showing us again what sectors are winning, what sectors are losing. Financials trying their best to hold on, XLV trying its best to hold on, but this kind of feels just like a, not necessarily that there's a bounce going on, but maybe we're just done going down. Maybe it's just this is it. because we definitely had a nice trend off the open. As soon as you got that, again, I've been paring down my shorts on the way down. All the shorts that are doing well, I'm covering those things over time. The system just naturally is adding to some long positions. Because again, a lot of what I'm doing is revision to the mean, that type of thing. So I'm more, I would say, even short and long. So doesn't really concern me one way or another which way we go. Hopefully, just if we go up, my longs do better. If we go down, my shorts do better. Not maxed out on buying power anymore either. I actually still have a lot of buying power left. So there's a chance that more trades will trigger throughout the day, but one of those things.
Really tight here on Clean Spark. Really break even on the VIX. Got MXTX. I put a stop there right behind it at 48.14 now. And it's just more, do the trades keep going in the directions they're in? If not, cut them. APLD. Yeah, that's what we want to see on APLD. So big reaction up on APLD tells me that maybe the market starts to jump here, but I'm going to go ahead and try to add on APLD here as it starts to push back towards 10.
And it's funny, I don't know if this was on purpose from you, but I noticed this with a lot of people who both swing trade and day trade. Generally speaking, will swing trade mostly from the long side because stocks drift up over time. They're using that natural to their advantage, and then day trade quite a bit from the short side, and ends up because if you run the studies, there's a lot of them out there that just show that most of the gains in stocks and the S&P 500 in a whole happen overnight. Quite often
VIX
SPY
just dumped.
fade.
Be careful out there. That was a wicked move there. Wicked.
Oh yeah, a little bit. So that's so far right to, I'll grab this here, right to the 2-day VWAP to the tick. So let's see if this zone here holds. This was the low end of the area that I was watching. If we're through this, next it's like yesterday's low, which is 621. That's a pretty big down move, pretty big vacuum just between those two things. We've got three equal lows down there, but I can say it's well established now that we are just kind of right back into the middle of this range. Unless we get some crazy buying into the close, means this breakout has now officially failed. Quite often, one of my favorite Brian Shannonisms, buddy of mine, just says, from failed moves come fast moves. And this was a gap up that gapped us into new all-time highs, gapped us through a nice week or so of a base. And so far that thing has failed there. So
all right, guys, I just added there to circle short. Going to go for a little bit of a bigger time short there on the swing action, risking about 48 now. Looking to see if circle can really break down here. Look at MSTX go there. That's looking awesome. Now down to 47.61. Little part of me is like, maybe shouldn't have covered those first shares, but that's just me being greedy because I'd be up 300 on the name. So now looking really good on the VIX. VIX jumping here. Just trying to ride this pullback wave. And remember, the lead could be big here. So I'm riding the wave. It's interesting to see some names still continuing like Archer. So you have to do what? Stick with the strength today. Stick with the weakness. If what you're seeing is important to you and what you're seeing is making going with the trend, you got to stick with that trend right now. SPY, big rejection here down to 624. Just looking to go ahead and just start. I'll raise the stop now in the VIX and just look for this to start working here.
Yeah, so zooming out here, like a 15-minute chart, right? We're at that 2-day VWAP and struggling there. But again, through there, there's really nothing, maybe a little bit here at a point lower. So 623.50 and then 621.50. So there's some room to go, that's for sure, to the potential downside there on this guy. I just want to see for at least 5-minute candle or so to see if we can hold this zone right here. Oh, Steph's taking off. Have a good one. Hope you're taking off because you had some good trades.
Out of BTBT, guys, and APLD is looking like it's going to get marked. What I call marked, where the market stops me out here. Not because I want to get out of APLD, but I'm going to be smart here. Look at the shorts starting to stack up here, guys. I'll show you guys the green going there. And now Clean Spark. Look at Clean Spark go. Let's go, Clean Spark. Clean Spark taking the quick dip now through the 12s. So there you guys see, now I'm up about $50 on that. I could even add on this if the SPY can continue to drop here. But what I'm doing is I'm on break even right now, just riding the waves right now. And Circle is going to be an interesting one to really take a shot here. I don't mind it because the daily chart had it starting to come back because Bitcoin was coming back. I'm sure some buyers stepped up here. And if this thing would get back through 180, I mean, it could really come down. So, hey, take a shot sometimes. We'll see how it plays out here. And what I'm really looking for is a quick flush on Circle. It needs to be an ugly chart. The way it was on CoreWeave when I shorted it on CoreWeave, it was just down, down, down she goes.
Yeah, it's been
look at this
MSTX.
MSTX.
It's been a day,
look at this MXTX flipping. Let's go. Look at that. That's really getting the action now. I'm actually raising up to about $100 now on that MSTX. So I'm already up on the day trade, but I'm just trying to keep securing some cash here as I keep grinding into the green. The VIX is the one that I'm more on the break even and just letting it run. Because if the SPY is really going to break down today, the VIX should take off enough to reward me here. So we'll see what happens on that one.
Yeah, I don't know how much more we got left to go, but I'm certainly not seeing anything that's getting me aggressively to buy here. If we can't hold that 2-day VWAP, again, that just means the average price from today and yesterday. It just kind of shows if anyone was buying yesterday, where they're sitting is roughly that 624.50. We bled through that pretty handily there. So I would expect to see if we're going to get some sort of bounce that should come in fairly soon. If not, could just be on its way down. But as things are going, and as we're just kind of nearing the wrap up here, is most of my shorts have covered for profit. So I'm sitting on a nice realized gain. And now the bot's loading up from the long side just because more and more longs are starting to trigger. So ideally a bounce from here, but you know, it is what it is. Those are the systems. But yeah, so I think a rug pull, I think that's probably a good way to word it, because we had that nice gap up in the morning. CPI came through okay. We held up there as well. And then ever since then, we've just been kind of grinding lower. Tack asking, any news on AMD? I don't see anything.
No, this is just the market turning around on you, man. Has to do with what I talk about, where rotation goes against you. This is the rotation coming against you right now, and that's what you're feeling. It's a tough feeling when you just see wipeouts all around you. So this is when a lot of times in my swing game, I used to just cut out. If I was green a lot on long swings and I've been holding them for a while, that's when I used to cut out, because the problem is you can stay in it today, but if the SPY just continues to leak, you could get stopped out on some names. So that's when you got to determine, what are you looking for on the profit side, or what is your out method? You should already have that methodology about how you're going to get out on trades when they go against you. And that's what's happening right now. So it's the market, right? Like, I loved APLD's setup today. Doesn't mean I'm going to stay in it. As much as I love this setup, I got to get out here and look to see what happens.
Yeah, this is I see what you're looking at, Tack, there with AMD. It's trying. So, you know, this is the time, I think, that we talk about all the time. You know, relative strength, relative weakness. You can read every academic study. There's billionaire hedge fund managers. You just use this one concept of, let me short the weakest stuff, let me buy the strongest stuff. So now the market's selling like this, you go take a look and say, what's strong? So like an AMD holding in, so then you kind of set up your if-then scenario. If the market settles out here and starts to calm down, then maybe you go after AMD holding VWAP, right? You look at the stuff that's holding strong and you try to stay involved in that. And then the stuff that's reversing, you get out quickly. So yeah, it's not an aggressive sell. Like, I don't look at this and say, oh, this is, you know, like a crazy news driven whatever. It's just like relentless.
Look at that circle. Look at that circle, guys. Let's go. Let's go, circle.
So yeah, circle will be interesting to see, because every time it's hit this VWAP, and that's like 178, so it's more 181. That's a big move just to even get there.
I'm up already
There's
100 on that circle. So let's
nice.
go. 40 shares, 198.38. You don't need a crazy amount, guys. Let's go, man. Up 160 and 140 on certain day trades. So here's where it's time to pay myself a little bit. I'm going to go with the
Yeah.
VIX pay. The VIX pay before the other one. So I'm going to go here with 250. All right, let's go with half out on the VIX here.
And that's kind of I think my summary here is I don't trust this. I didn't really trust the up move. I don't trust the down move. We're back inside of a range, so we kind of have to play ranges accordingly, right? So I think I totally agree with what Mitch is doing here. You got some good trades. Pair some off, keep some in case this is some sort of bleed all day scenario. But if it's not, you would, which like 60% of the time, 70% of the time, I think it's not a trend day in the market. You would be kind of upset to not ring the register a little bit, especially on trades that are doing so well.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Up 200 on the day trade account, trying to push on the swing. Let these ride now. The big thing is for me on Clean Spark, not let it come back now. It's hit towards 12. It should keep going here. So the key is at this point, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm securing cash in something that's not going as fast. The circle one, I'm riding that one. But I can at least secure some cash and actually give me the risk that I have on for circle if it's doing that well, right? So I feel like that one can really kind of get hit hard. And I mean, overnight, that could be a disaster, right? So I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it and see what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, guys, just make sure you're understanding,
day,
right? That we're reaching.
Why is it got to be 11 today,
time,
Michael? Today's that day.
I
I'm on
know.
gas pedal, man. I'm gas pedal face.
Well, I'm just looking through tomorrow, and it looks like we could have the same kind of thing tomorrow. We got a bunch of numbers going on. We got a whole bunch of earnings going on. So now it's, this is the ebb and flow of equity trading. You have earning season, which is generally really hot. You get a lot of movement. And then you've got the lull until the next earning season. So make hay while the sun shines, which it's certainly doing right now.
Yeah, nice day indeed. And I hope you guys enjoyed the action. And man, that's just how it is. You got to be able to flip. You guys saw me early just playing some longs. APLD was a great look. But this is what I mean by sometimes that the market can be a determining factor in your trade. So if you got wiped out on a really nice bullish setup today, realize you didn't do anything wrong either. It's also sometimes just that the market goes against you, right? And you can't do nothing about that. We don't have the funds needed, to just hold up the market when we want to, right? So in those cases, we also have to always remind, and for those traders that don't keep a SPY or a Q chart somewhere around, right? I think this is a learning lesson for that type of action, right? Because sometimes the market can just turn on you and you can't do nothing. You're fighting the trend of like the whole thing of going up the way that we went up and it raised all boats. Same way it brings it down, right? When the market wipes out, also brings a lot of stocks down. And in this case, every sector red from the open was a telling sign.
Right?
And
I'm just my summary is just look at what Josh said. That's my summary right there. All about the close. Go outside, enjoy the summer. Right? We're bleeding down off the open. Who knows what will happen?
I mean,
the rest of the day.
I think it depends. If you're a long trader face that way, I think if you're short here, this is opportunity too, because the leak could be bigger, right? The leak can get bigger here, right? It could, because at the end of the day, there's too many people on the easy trade to the long side. Whenever that happens, at some point, we're going to get hit. And usually that day, it's a bigger hit. So that's why I'm riding the break evens on certain ones and taking the trades, right? So if the trade keeps working, at least I can let that market do the heavy lifting for me, right? Let it keep telling me to stay short right now. I'm not telling that I want to go short. I'm going to let it keep telling me. Big part of that, 3 15-minute candles red. Let's see if the trend goes back to a green candle. If that can happen, yeah, you can maybe fight back. But if it just stays red on 15s, watch out there. All right,
Mhm.
traders, we'll see you guys back. Like always, stay safe out there, and we'll be back tomorrow. Trade the pool, guys.